Hi there, I'm Michael with etrailer.com. Today we're going to take a quick look at this CURT MV weight distribution system. We're going to go over some of the features and compare it to some of the other systems that we have available here at etrailer.com. So if you're new to weight distribution, you're not familiar with what it is or does, basically speaking, this is going to install into your tow vehicle and attach to your trailer. So rather than having the one connection point between your trailer coupler and your hitch ball, which can oftentimes put a lot of weight down on that hitch ball, causing your tow vehicle to squat at the back end, putting a lot of strain on your rear suspension, bringing your front end up, causing your steering to be kind of light, all sorts of problems, and your trailer tongue to be pointing down. So this is going to give you a couple more attachment points and these spring bars that are going to be under tension to help bring that trailer nose back up so that everything is level, that weight is evenly distributed across all the axles of your tow vehicle and your trailer, so it's going to give you a lot more stability and control. So basically all weight distribution systems operate on the same basic principle. These spring bars are going to be under tension. There are slight differences in how they mount, the shape of the spring bars, things like that. But there's really three different categories that I think separate different systems that you want to make sure that you're aware of so that you're getting the right system for you. So the first category in my mind is the weight capacity. So you want to make sure that the system is capable of handling your trailer's weight. There is a tongue weight range that you want to fall into. So bigger isn't necessarily better. You want to make sure that it's fine-tuned to your system. The second category is going to be your trailer height accommodation. So you want to make sure that your trailer is nice and level as you're going down the road. So the head unit here needs to be right about the same level as your trailer. And so there's different ways to accommodate that depending on your shank. So we'll go over that here in a second. And then the third is going to be your sway control. So a lot of systems these days do have a form of sway control either built in or added on to their system to help keep their trailer in line. So if you had a big gust of wind or something like that, it would help keep your trailer from being pushed away too much. This system doesn't have any sway control built into it, so there are add-on options that we'll go over here in a minute, but that's something to consider for your setup. So first thing is going to be the weight capacity. This has a tongue weight range of between 500 and 600 pounds. That's pretty low. That's on the lower end of our systems. So it's going to be for your lighter trailers and that sort of thing. The tongue weight is going to be a very important measurement. That's the most important for your weight distribution system. So your tongue weight is your trailer's tongue weight plus anything that you have behind the rear axle of your tow vehicle. So you add those two numbers together, make sure it's going to be within that range. If you have lighter than 500 pounds, then the system's going to be too rigid for you. If you have more than 600, the system's not going to be adequate. So you want to make sure you're within that range. And then the gross towing weight capacity is going to be 6,000 pounds. That's the weight of your trailer plus the load included as you're pulling it. So load up your trailer, see what those measurements are, and make sure that you're getting the right system for you. So this is going to slide into your 2-inch by 2-inch trailer hitch receiver on your tow vehicle. You do want to make sure that your hitch is rated for use with weight distribution. Not all of them are, and obviously your whole setup is only as strong as your weakest component. So make sure that your hitch is capable of working with your weight distribution. You can see they do include a standard pin and clip. We do also sell locking pins if you want to add a little extra security to ensure that that stays in your hitch receiver. And then our shank here is an adjustable height shank, so we have different points that we can attach our head unit to accommodate our trailer height, as I was talking about earlier. So the way we measure that is from the top inside edge of your receiver tube down to our ball platform, which is about where our coupler is going to sit. So you can see with this configuration, and if I have it in the drop position and our head unit is at the lowest attachment point on that drop position, it's not going to be very much. It's only about 2.5 inches max drop. So if your coupler sits 2.5 inches lower than your top inside edge of your receiver tube, this will work for you. We can also flip this over, use it in the rise position, and then we'll have a max rise of 6 inches. So if your coupler sits up to 6 inches higher than your top inside edge of your receiver tube, then that will work for you. And then these holes are spaced about 1.25 inches apart, center on center. So you'll have a lot of incremental changes in between those two extremes. Our head unit is going to require a hitch ball. The hitch ball is not included with this product, so you will have to purchase that separately. You can either get one with an 1.25 inch diameter shank, or they do include a reducer sleeve, so you can use a ball with a 1 inch diameter sleeve. So you will have to get that installed and tightened down. Other systems already come with that installed, so that's one of the things that this is kind of lacking in my opinion, but pretty simple to purchase that separately if you so choose. Now with weight distribution, almost every system out there is going to require a little bit of a tilt in the head unit. So this system achieves that by stacking these washers on this bolt here, and this bolt will then slide into a hole on the backside of the head in between your head unit and your shank, and then it kind of rests up against your shank. So those washers are going to determine how much tilt you're getting. And so that's going to vary from application to application. When you're initially getting set up, you'll have to figure out what works best for you. It can be kind of a hassle to have to take the unit apart to get it fit back in there, take your washers off, add more washers, that sort of thing. But really, you're only going to have to worry about that for your initial setup. If you're installing this on one trailer, if you're only going to be using one trailer, one tow vehicle, you really don't have to worry about that too much. If you are going to be switching setups frequently using the same weight distribution for different vehicles or different trailers, you might have to might be kind of a pain to have to switch that back and forth. I personally really like the Blue Ox Sway Pro weight distribution system. It's got the head tilt built into the unit, so you don't have to worry about that sort of thing. But of course, with more advanced features, the price point increases, so just be mindful of that for which features you're willing to do without and which ones you would really like. So you can see our head unit here is going to be our attachment point for our spring bars. So these kind of click into place up there, just snap right in, and that's going to provide a solid connection for you. We've got our grease zerk that's built in, so we can very simply hook up our grease gun, pump some grease in there, make sure that everything is well lubricated and operating properly, so very easy to maintain. And then our spring bars are going to be held onto our trailer's frame with these no drill lift brackets. You won't have to drill any holes into your trailer frame. They've got these bolts that will just tighten down against your frame once you have them in place. And then they operate on a very simple principle. So you'll pull them out, you'll line up the link that you need, which might take a little bit for your initial setup, but then once you get it set up, you'll be very easy to remember which one you're needing. And then you'll lift it up, snap it in place, and that's going to create the tension that will hold your spring bars up to your trailer frame. They also include your clips to make sure that that doesn't come loose while you're traveling. So you can fine tune your tension by choosing which chain you need so that you can get it to the appropriate level for you to make sure that your ride's going to be nice and level. So very nice that you're not going to have to drill into your trailer's frame to get this mounted, and then it's going to provide that solid connection for you. Now, one of the disadvantages of using chains is they are pretty wobbly, so you're not going to get a very rigid system. So that sway control that I mentioned before, typically your chains aren't considered part of a sway control setup. There are ways of adding sway control, so there's the CURT friction sway control system that you see on the screen there that can be added on if you want to use that. We do have other kits that have that included with a similar setup to this, or there are other kits that have sway control built in through other means, either an L bracket on the frame mount there, so the spring bar sits on the bottom of the L bracket, and that steel on steel friction kind of helps keep your trailer in line. The Blue Ox Sway Pro that I mentioned earlier still uses chains, but it's got a channel that the chains fit into, so it prevents side-to-side movement for a nice rigid system. So different options to achieve that sway control, but this system does not have any of that built into it. It's just got that simple chain mount to hold your spring bars up onto the frame, give you that tension that you need. So overall, I think this is a really good system. It's kind of on the basic side. You're not going to get a lot of the advanced features. It's kind of more focused on price point, I think. So it is a very budget-friendly option compared to some of our others that are, double or even 10 times more in price than this one is. So if price is your main concern, I think this will be a good option for you. You will need to add on that ball, but then otherwise you'll get the main basic features of a weight distribution system, again, just without that sway control. So make sure that the weight capacity is going to work for you. Make sure that the height accommodation is going to work for you. And then if you're willing to go without the sway control, I think this is going to be a really good system for you. So that completes our look for today. Again, I'm Michael with etrailer.com. Thanks for watching.